struggle with taking care of our health. So because I actually am a medical case manager, I definitely influence that piece as well, because when I have clients come to me with health issues, I can also help them understand better about why they probably need to go to the doctor instead of staying home.
When she was born, had a C-section. I could take my baby home. I'm after being in the hospital for 7 days and thinking everything was okay.
Time. Nothing is quick. Growth takes work. When you see yourself, and I call it see yourself, because you have to see yourself beyond.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Growth Motivator Live with me, your host, Dr. Lisa L. Campbell. I am joined today by one of my beautiful sorors, Yvette Mitchell. Hey.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good.
Good.
Can you tell our listening, viewing audience a little bit about, your background, what you do, who you serve, all those good things?
Sure. So my name is Yvette Mitchell. I am a licensed clinical therapist. However, I am a psychotherapist and a medical case manager. So I can blend a few things. I can separate a few things. But for the purpose of this, we'll talk about just in general everything I do. So psychotherapy, that is my love, my heart. I've done that for the past 23 years. Yes, I know I look pretty young, don't I?
Yes, you do. You do.
But as my background in psychotherapy, I have been a systems person, so multi-systems therapist for all of this time. It is a true belief of mine as a African American therapist. One of the belief of me that I come from is that we need people to make it here. And so because of that, systems is a very part of my life. Every part of us is a system, including ourselves, our family, the systems around us, school, work, support systems in our lives. We utilize systems. So systems spoke very loud to me very young. And so, of course, I continued that throughout my works. So systems. And then if you add on the other part of me, which is the medical case manager piece, that's huge piece of me, because I also take that and implement that in my practice. So a lot of us as African Americans, we struggle with taking care of our health. So because I actually am a medical case manager, I definitely influence that piece as well, because when I have clients come to me with health issues, I can also help them understand better about why they probably need to go to the doctor instead of staying home, and why they need to take care of their health. So I love every part of me. And I utilize it in every area, from medical field and as well as therapist.
So tell me a little bit, just a little bit about that psychotherapy.
So I have my own practice. My practice name is Epic Counseling and Therapeutic Services. I do in-person and also virtual therapy, so I do both. I'm a Reiki. I'm a Reiki.
Can you please, the people need to know what that is, because they like, let me Google that real quick. What is that?
So Reiki is a part of the healing touch therapy. So it is something that a lot of people have heard about. Me, myself, I actually got trained about a year and a half ago. But I utilize it within my practice much differently. You'll see a lot of Reiki therapists. They do Reiki according to themselves. So Reiki is trained also, but you can take it and you can define it for you about what speaks to you. And because I am a psychotherapist, I love Reiki from the angle of what it does. And healing touch is such an important piece. But also looking at it from a trauma-focused view is very important. And so because I look at it from trauma-focused, I look at how it impacts the body, the whole sense of self. So mind, body, spirit, and soul. And so, yes. And so I look at that and I work with people from how to become healing from inside out, inside out, inside out. And so absolutely Reiki is a huge part of my practice now. I am definitely growing it and taking it to the next level daily.
Oh, I love that. I have one of our other guests actually just came back from a retreat, and they use touch to
Mm-hmm.
help with the healing process. And,
Mm-hmm.
when you hear the word therapy,
Mm-hmm.
forget all the fancy psychotherapy, right? The
Yes.
psychiatrist, the psychologist, the
Yes.
therapist.
Yes.
When you hear that term, I think in our community, it's kind of like one of the things that you don't want to do. You are ashamed to need help.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally believe that if you don't get that help,
Mm-hmm.
you're allowing yourself to be destroyed internally, which then impacts you externally.
Yes.
I remember when I was about, I keep getting this age mixed up, but I'm going to say that I was somewhere between 20 and 24.
Okay.
And at this time, I was a relatively new mother of a special needs daughter. Today, she's 32. And when she was born, had a C-section.
Mm-hmm.
I could take my baby home. I'm after being in the hospital for 7 days and thinking everything was okay. And then months later, started to learn that she was deaf, that she was had an intellectual disability. So can't talk, can't hear, intellectual disability. It took her 7 years to walk. There was one point in my life where I decided that I didn't want to be here anymore. And so I took 30 Tylenol. And it was at that moment, and people who are watching the episodes, they probably are like, if she tells that story one more time. But I repeat it because for a long time, I didn't share that side of me with other people. But from the time that I was in the emergency room, when they were pumping out my stomach, to the time when I went in the ambulance to Hartgrove Hospital
Mm-hmm.
and stayed there for a few hours, I realized that, oh, number one, it was okay to feel the way that I was feeling, but
Mm-hmm.
when you're feeling that way, you need to get some help.
Mm-hmm.
And as a person who has been through all types of different therapy,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes Black folks be like, my therapy is at church.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the only therapist that you need. You need someone that has been trained and is licensed in that area to
Yes.
use the official techniques to help you. Yes, prayer does work.
Yes.
Prayer does work, right? But
Yes.
faith without work is
It's dead.
dead.
Absolutely.
And you need to get some people who are trained to help you.
Yes.
So, going through all of that, I realized that I had a lot to live for.
Mm-hmm.
And through prayer and therapy, I was able to move past it. But it wasn't until the last 2 years that I started to share that part of my
Mm-hmm.
life. A lot of people probably see me out and about in social settings, and they probably think, oh, she must have been born with a silver spoon in her mouth. She looks
Mm-hmm.
like she has it all together. But we do a good job of making it look like on the outside that life is all good, when in actuality, it's some stuff going on
Mm-hmm.
that we don't want to share
Yes.
and we need to share. And then sometimes I realized this recently. There are some people who need help and don't even realize they need the help.
Yep.
And when we
Yes.
all looking at them at the same time, we're like, you need to go to therapy. You need some help.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to do it because they're embarrassed
Mm-hmm.
or they don't think they need it.
Yep. Yes.
So, talk to us a little bit about the impact of having some self-discipline.
So, absolutely. Self discipline in this world.
In this world,
In this world,
post-COVID.
post COVID. But I think even as we look at post COVID, we can look at pre COVID, because some things about this world is still here, even pre COVID and post COVID. And I'm going to use this word called immediate gratification.
You mean the microwave?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is, even now we got that. What's that? Oh Lord, I'm thinking about that oven that they got. We have
Oh, the air fryer?
the air fryer. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
everything is quick,
Mm-hmm.
quick, and growth takes time.
Mm. Mm.
Time. Nothing is quick. Growth takes work.
Growth is a vibe.
It's a vibe.
And
It's a vibe.
and I think a lot of people don't want to put in the work
Mhm.
that it takes to grow. I think about in the last couple of years, I was working out with a personal trainer. And in the beginning, he got me lifting these weights. And you don't get that strength, that technique down immediately.
Nope.
You got to keep coming back to the appointments
Mm-hmm.
and putting in the work.
You got to.
It wasn't that I just paid the money and showed up, and
Right.
all of a sudden I got muscles.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
And resilience is really a muscle that you have to flex.
Exactly.
And when you're in those difficult times,
Yeah.
that's when you see how strong you are.
Yeah.
And even when you don't realize you're strong, you got to lean on that inner strength and
Yes.
pull it up out of yourself and tell yourself, pat yourself on your back and say, self, you got this.
Exactly.
I think we all fall down, but if you get back up, that means you can make it.
You can make it. Actually, the word called resilience.
Yes.
But what I love about that example that you just said was, I went to the gym, and I was working with a personal trainer. And this personal trainer, right, had me lifting these heavy weights at first. And when you woke up in the morning, I know you was doing what? Hurting. It was hurting. Growth usually can cause for some kind of pain. Most folks don't want that pain.
Well, here's the question. Do I want hurting or dying?
There you go. That's the question. That's the question. Because the growth pain, the pain of growth, means I'm getting somewhere. I'm going somewhere. And I'm going to delay my gratification now so I can get somewhere. That's where I'm trying to go. Where am I trying to go? I got a vision. I got a goal. And I'm trying to get to this goal, so I'm delaying my gratification. I'm going somewhere. So I know it may hurt right now, but it's a temporary hurt, right? And we're using a symbol here. We're using a semblance here. So we're trying to get somewhere. So I'm delaying something to get to what my ultimate goal is. And the ultimate goal in working out, right? If we're working out, we're trying to get to something. We want to get our bodies right. We want to get our health right, right? So that's what we're delaying. We're delaying some things to get there. So we're going through that pain every day, picking these heavy weights out. We're jumping up and down. We're doing what we got to do. This is a daily or however we got our regiment going to get there. Same thing when it comes down to personal growth. When we have our goals, we set a plan. We set it in motion. We continue it daily. We have to delay some things to be able to get there. We know with school, when we're trying to get a degree, when we're trying to get somewhere, it takes time. We got to set the goal.
Having a baby.
9
months,
takes
right?
9 months.
And you know what? When I wrote my book, Grow With Me, one of the things that I share in the book is that the journey that I organically embarked on to become the growth motivator. Yeah. And I equate this journey to being pregnant. And being pregnant, but having a community. See, when I gave natural birth, I didn't have a community.
Yeah.
When I gave birth, I had a C-section. My baby was born at 7.5 months. My mother was by my side. But as I am growing the growth motivator, I have lots of midwives. And those midwives keep holding this hand and holding this hand. And as I was delivering the growth motivator, it wasn't a C-section this time. It was a natural birth. And I heard all of the people in my community saying push, right? And as the growth motivator was being delivered, it was being delivered not for me, but to help others.
Yes.
I am here on this earth to help individuals, organizations shed the weight that is holding them hostage. Yeah. And I'm not talking about physical weight, because I personally have to get back on my journey towards getting my body in order. But I'm talking about mental weight. I'm not a therapist. That's the therapist. I'm talking about emotional. I'm talking about just feeling like you don't deserve to be here. You don't deserve to have the things that are open to you. The world is this big, wide oyster.
Yes.
And so many people get stuck in the 606 and think that that's all the world has to offer, when it's so much more.
It is.
But you got to put in the work.
You got to put in the work and exposure. Exposure. What are we exposed to, or what are we allowing ourselves to be exposed to? Right? What can our mind eyes see? What do we allow our mind's eyes to see? And that's where it begins, right? So finding those people that, even if we are not even able to get out of the 606, but my thing is open the book. What's that you got in front of you?
A book.
There you
I
go.
got a book on the floor.
You got a book on the floor.
Because guess what? In my growth journey,
Mm-hmm.
I realized that I should be learning faster than I'm growing.
Mm-hmm.
So the Lisa Campbell that you see today,
Mm-hmm.
she's been putting in the work.
That's right.
She's been putting in the repetition
That's right.
day and night. In my book, I talk about, in one of the chapters, you work too much, because people always say you work too much. I was working for a reason. I have goals.
That's right.
Now, this side of 50, I've cut back on some of my working so I can focus on the one thing that I know is going to have an impact on the world. But you can't allow other people to dictate your journey. Yes, I've missed a lot of things.
Right. Yes.
Do I regret it? No. Because my impact is going to be larger than, oh, I went to this party. Now, don't get me wrong. I've been to the Click nightclub back in the day. I've been to Cliff Levinson's, the Riviera. I've been to the Bismarck Hotel because I'm a house head.
I know that's right.
But I realized that I had to give up some things. And during that time, I've actually lost friends because people have a 9-to-5 mentality. No shade, nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong.
But this girl here is on a mission, and it's not around the constraints of a 9-to-5. It's bigger than that.
Absolutely. And it has to be, right? When you see yourself, and I call it see yourself, because you have to see yourself beyond. When you see yourself somewhere, you cannot live in the constraints of the 9-to-5 or someone else's constraints. You have to work outside of that. There's no other way. You have to work. You have to delay. You have to work. You have to work. You have to work. You have to work. And you have to say, that party is gonna be there. I got work to do. That dinner, I'm sorry, it's gonna be there. I got work to do. Oh, y'all gonna be on the phone for about 10 hours? It's gonna be there.
That part.
I got work to do. It's 2:00 in the morning. I still got to read this article real quick because I got some work to do. Sleep, I'm gonna hit you in a minute. I got work to do. When you got work to do,
you're gonna give up some things.
Give up some things.
I remember when I first had my daughter and I went to school for medical assisting, and I guess during the time period when I went to school the first time and the second time, because the first time my school closed, once I finished, they had closed and packed up shop and left, right? So once I started that second time and went to school again, I did not stop. I went medical assisting, associate's degree, bachelor's degree, master's degree, 1994 to 2000. I did all of that in 6 years. I was going to school at night, working during the day, trying to figure out what was going to go on with my daughter, if somebody was hurting her when she wasn't in my presence. It was when she was 7 that I realized I had to let her go to a facility. That probably was one of the most challenging parts of my life. And I remember talking to a couple of people in the African American community, and they were like, Black folks don't send their family members to a home. You need to keep her at home with you. But I realized I did not have, yes, I was in healthcare, but I wasn't an occupational therapist and a speech therapist and a physical therapist, because at that time, she wasn't walking and she was still drinking a bottle with a big nipple in it. And so that day that I dropped her off, I got her inside and I was like, she can't stay. So the person who I was dating at the time literally had to help me get back out of the building. And I remember the case manager who was there, Minister Wanda, she said, don't worry, Mom, we got her. We're going to take good care of her. And within months of her being there, she started walking.
Mm.
She started eating with a spoon,
Mm-hmm.
and things started to change when I realized that I needed to give her the opportunity to grow so that I could grow as well.
Right, right.
And that was
Yes.
scary.
Yeah, it is. But it's also recognizing what do you need and what does she need?
Mm.
And let me take that differently. What does she need? When we are parents, so I'm a mom, right? And I was a mom early. And like you said, you look at this person and you're like, wow, they got it all together. This is a young lady. She's a licensed clinical social worker. She's a psychotherapist. She's a medical case manager. She's just a Reiki practitioner. All this into one. Wow, she did so much. Yeah, but the struggle is real, right? The struggle is real. And back in the day when I was 18, 19 years old, pregnant, did I see that for myself? No, no. I had some powerful women around me that helped usher this usher that into me, that view, that vision. God also usher that into me. But at first, that wasn't there. All I saw was I was pregnant. I was in school. What am I gonna do? Drop out. Drop out. I dropped out. I dropped out. I had to go. That was it. Yep. Northern University. Gotta go. See you later. Left. But my story didn't end there because I didn't let it end there.
Because you decided to be victorious and not be a victim. And people say that's such a cliche term, but it is the truth.
It's the truth.
You decide. And when I see people who are allowing their past to hold them hostage,
Yeah.
I am very careful if I say something to them. Because some people, you can tell that no matter what you say, they're going to fight you on it. So I'm not trying to help those people, right? I just try to be an example of an emotionally intelligent mother, wife, grandmother, daughter, all the things that I am, and lead by example.
Yes.
But so many people are suffering with, I learned this word by one of my other therapist friends, vicarious trauma.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Oh, when I was 14, somebody raped me. Right? All these things that happened to them, and they still hold on to it today. You 40 years old. At some point, you got to move past that because you're not going to be able to experience all the things that you can experience. And truth be told, everybody probably experienced some inappropriate behavior in their childhood.
So Oprah Winfrey say, right?
Right.
No girl child or boy child, I add that, can be safe in a family. And I'm going to take out anything about men or women because it's all about anybody, right?
It's
To
anybody.
Me, anybody. And so the direct trauma there, that's a direct trauma. We can choose to be victors or we can choose to be a victim. It's a choice. We can choose to be a victor or a victim. I don't choose to be a victim in anything. I choose to be a victor. So whatever I need to do to become a victor, I'm going to do that. Let me go give me some support. I'm going through something right now. I got to call. Wait a minute. Because I got some good girlfriends in my life. I got some good mentors. I make sure if you ain't good, it's some books out here I love called, one of them was called Safe People. That's one of my favorite books. It teaches you how to pick safe people in your life. When I got a hold of that book and I read that book, I'm talking about I read it now about 4 times because it's a powerful book. And it teaches you how to look at people and say, are you safe for me?
And not just people, when you talk about safety, people, their first go to is physical safety. But if your spouse, significant other, your person is verbally abusing you, that's just as bad because they in the house cussing you out, telling you stupid, you're not gonna be nothing, you never gonna be nothing. That is trauma.
Absolutely.
And that's not your person.
No, absolutely. Oh, even the people around you, grandma. Let's talk about grandma. Let's talk about grandma because grandma could be the one doing it. You ain't gonna be nothing. You need to be at home here. They may not even tell you you're not gonna be anything. They may tell you you don't need to go try to be no school person. You need to come on home and stay home with me. Just come sit here. You good.
You know what? When I was in college, and I'm not going to say who it was, but I had a family member that told me, you need to be taking care of your daughter and not going to school.
Yes.
But I am so thankful that I was born with such a strong character, because I realized that her guidance was based on her time.
Yeah.
Being born in the 1920s, 30s,
Yep.
40s.
Yep.
Things were different when I was born
Totally
in
different.
1973 and when
Yep.
I had my daughter in 1992.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
had to go down a different path, and it's the path that God laid out for me.
That's right.
I
Yeah.
was just walking in it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And one, I'm gonna take just to even add to that, because when you look at those people, and they was born at different times, but we still got some of them folks born now. They was born like that one born maybe 1920, 1930, but you got some folks born 1960, 1970. They still walking around here thinking just like that. And I'm big on the Bible. I'm a Christian myself, and I'm good on this one. I love this thing that says, when it says, if something is not good for you, cut it off.
Oh, you mean separate that which is like you, then I will receive you. That's the word.
There you
And
go.
you know what? For a long time, I struggled with that. But Joel Osteen said, if you're the smartest person in your circle, you need a larger circle. That's why I love, when I say I miss out on a lot of things, I miss out on things that's not helping me grow. And so I surround myself with individuals that have surpassed where I'm at. I was in a meeting with one of my accountability circles, and the person next to me, who was like 15 years younger than me, we were all talking about, business strategies and things for 2024. And she was like, I'm trying to figure out, what I'm going to do next, because I'm clearing 100K a month. I was like, did she say 100K a month?
All right, okay.
I'm clearing 100K a month, and I need to figure out what I'm going to do to pivot. So I'm surrounding myself with people who are next level. Because if we all at the same level, all we're going to do is the same level stuff.
That's right. Absolutely. And you have to put yourself, that's what I mean about finding those. If you're here, first of all, I'm all about get there with the people on your level first. But let me say that a little differently.
Some people like, what she said.
Right.
Go ahead.
Let me say that a little different. I got to clean that up. Let me say that differently. When you're about being positive and you on a growth journey, you put healthy people in your life. Okay? That's what I mean by on your level. Healthy people. But when you're now moving up, we want people that's there and above us. I aim for that. I don't want you what you doing? Don't get me wrong. I want to be an influence. I want to be positive. I want to be a motivator, but I also want to be able to get those that I can pull from. I want to be able to be influenced by you to do better. Better. I may be tired in my body, but hey, I'm seeing you. You're gonna make me go. I'm not that tired no more. I'm ready to go. What we doing? That's what I want around me. That's what I want around me. That's how we continue to do better. That's how our visions grow. I see you doing what? We doing who? It's inspiring to see people reach for the dreams you think you can't do, but you really can do when you see somebody else do.
I love it. One of my guests from season 1 said her grandmother told her, I think she said, reach for the stars. But if you can't get that, just reach for the moon. Right? So keep reaching. Keep reaching.
Yes.
And once I became comfortable with being uncomfortable, that's when the magic started happening in my life.
Yes.
November 2022, when I made the decision that I was no longer going to be held hostage by salary and benefits, I put a plan in motion to pivot. Because I think, again, when you're dealing with this microwave generation, they think things happen instantly. When I decided I wasn't going to be held hostage by salary and benefits, that was November 2022. That shift didn't happen until November 2023. But I put a plan in place, and I held myself accountable. And I had lots of accountability partners that were saying, hey, girl, did you do it yet? I'm like, not yet. And then the day that I did it, I didn't tell anybody I was going to do it.
Okay.
I allowed it to organically happen. And when it happened, I was so peaceful. It was like this burden had just been lifted. The clouds had
Yeah.
opened up.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, future,
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly what it is. It's like having, like you said, I love that word accountability partners. I also say I use support a lot because that's what it is. It's positive, supportive people in our lives who they ain't hating on you. They're not hating on you. They want to see you succeed. We need those kind of people. There are so many of those other people out there.
You mean the haters?
The haters.
You mean the competitors instead of the collaborators?
Oh goodness.
And I don't understand that because if we put our big heads together, my husband always say, my wife got a big old brain. But if we put all of that together, imagine how powerful we can be.
Oh my goodness, we would take over the world.
And listen, that's my focus.
Yes,
is taking over the
take
world.
over the world.
What Beyonce say? Girls run the world.
We run the world.
And you know what? Speaking of Beyonce, what's so interesting? First of all, let me just say this, and I said this to somebody else. I am not a Beyonce fan, so I'm not a part of the Beehive. Beehive folks, don't come for me.
Right.
And I'm going to say this: I'm not a fan because I don't listen to a lot of music. During the day, generally, I have meditation music on, soft jazz, right? So generally things with no words because I'm trying to focus on my one thing.
Yeah.
But I went to see her movie.
Oh, okay.
Now, because I said I got to see this movie because on the Facebook, I know you're not a lot of social media person, but on the Facebook, I kept seeing in different parts of the world where my connections were talking about how wonderful the concert was. So I said, you're going to need to see this movie. Now, first of all, it was 3 hours long. But I've seen movies that have been 3 hours long. And I watched this woman, this Black woman, operate in her zone of genius, empowering others to be the best version of themselves.
Yeah.
So I am a fan of Beyonce, the businesswoman.
Yes.
The entertainer.
Yes.
I like the level of detail that she put on her sets.
Yes.
I watched them build the sets in the movie and I was like, oh,
yes,
I get it.
Yes.
I was positioned to see the movie so that I can get something out of it. I think sometimes we close ourselves off of things and people that can help us grow.
Yes.
Because we think they don't have anything to offer us.
Yeah.
In fact, I probably, when that movie comes out on DVD,
yeah.
Is that a thing? DVD, virtual, whatever it is. I
don't think it's out on DVD no more.
Okay. VHS.
No. Right.
But I'm more than likely I'm going to buy it so I can watch it again because there were so many powerful lessons in the movie for me.
Yes.
And where I'm headed, I'm like, sis did that.
Yes.
I'm going to do that too.
Yes.
But in my own space.
Yes. Yes. Now one thing I can say about Beyonce, I'm not a big Beyonce fan like that either. Well, let me say that. I'm not a part of the Beehive crew either. Don't beat me up, Beehive people. However, I can appreciate Beyonce. I've learned to appreciate Beyonce because I've seen her work. And what I'm going to use that word for her is she works.
She's a hard worker through pain.
And she'll tell you. So please don't beat me up again. I cannot remember the one that she actually did. She did the actual thing for the colleges. Colleges.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the On the Run too. I'm not pretty sure which one it was, but she was. She had the twins. And she was trying to get back down to her weight. And I remember she was focused. She was so focused, and she was like, "I'm hungry." I was like, that child is hungry, but she was focused, and I said, that's what it takes.
It does. It takes. So one of my previous guests talked about how we spend so much time serving others. You got to learn how to serve yourself first. Because if you are not where you need to be, how can you help all these other people?
And that's my favorite saying. I say, you cannot give what you do not have. If you don't have it, what are you trying to give? First, take care of you. Learn what it takes to make sure you're okay. If you don't know what it takes to make sure to make sure you're okay, how can you take care of anybody else? How can you learn what it is going to take to give and make sure someone else is okay? You don't know.
Wow, wow.
Learn to study you first. Make yourself the project.
Study to show yourself approved.
There you go. Unto God, right? I mean, that's the ultimate test of loving self. Because we can't give love if we don't have it for ourselves. And many people are always trying to give out what they don't even have.
And so many people are seeking love in the wrong
Oh
places,
my goodness.
and they don't love themselves.
No, at all. They don't even know what love is. They think it's of emotion.
Mm.
I have never, ever heard of love described in an emotion. Have you?
Mm-mm.
I remember emotions are sad.
Mhm.
When I feel sad today, I'm angry, I'm happy. Those are emotions. Love is not described in an emotion.
You don't help the people, because some of the people is getting love in the wrong places.
In the long run, literally, I feel like it. Where is it feeling it? I always ask my own clients. You say you love. I feel it. How do you? Where is that a feeling at? I'm trying to understand it. Is it a feeling? Yeah, I feel it. Where? Well, describe the feeling, because what I understand it is I feel happy. I'm excited. Those are feelings. Love is action.
Action, yes. Show me.
Show me
what
love.
Jerry Maguire say? Show me the money.
Right. Demonstrate that love to me. Demonstrate that you actually love me. But love is not described in an emotion.
Well, listen, Yvette.
Mm.
Our time is up. I have enjoyed our
Yes.
conversation with you. I love you. Thank
Love
you
you too.
so much
You're
for
welcome.
coming on today. Do you have any final words for our listening, viewing audience?
Just make sure you guys love on yourselves. Get your visions. Go for the gusto. Just the sky's the limit. Make sure you are taking care of you.
Oh, I love it. Well, everyone, this has been another episode of the Growth Motivator Live with me, your host, Dr. Lisa L. Campbell. Until next time.